Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our movie club. Today we'll discuss movie World War Z. Is it Z, teacher? How you pronounce this?
See,
Z? World War Z.
the British
Okay.
call it Z, but we call it
Yeah.
Z.
What is Z stands for? Osans, tell us. Why Z?
Yeah, that's what I wondered, because if they mention any other number, it is not the end of the series, So that's why they put Z. So it's the end of the World War. This is the final war, something like that.
It's not what I think. I think it's about zombie.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Zombie.
Okay.
But I just figured it out when I started to read the title. Only now.
wow.
Okay, so Leila, please tell us, what is the movie about?
The movie is about, former United Nations employee called Jerry. Actually, the film starts with the dolphins, birds, and some other animals found dead. So it attracts my attention. So what's happening? Then we see Jerry, a former United Nations employee, and he has his family. He's married. He has 3 daughters, and they had breakfast. They left home, and on the way to school, I guess, there's a traffic jam. Something unusual is happening because helicopters are flying about their, about them, and I think it's not an ordinary traffic jam.
It was a scary moment, right? It was a scary moment. How would you describe this moment? Scary or chilling or something else?
I would say maybe tense.
Tense, yeah.
Right.
I like this contrast. When you live your normal life, you just go into the school, and then you see helicopter shooting someone and some blasts and people eat each other. Wow, something wrong.
Motorcycle policeman knocks your car mirror off.
Yeah, and no one cares.
Yeah,
and then you see this truck, which is what he's doing, pulling. What's the word for this?
It was a garbage truck, just out of control.
Yeah, it smashed like the whole line of cars. Yeah, it was like this big lock that Rome used to open the castle.
Yeah.
Is there a name for this? Let me see.
Crowbar? You talking about crowbar?
Crowbar? Okay. This one. So actually they use this truck like a crowbar, right? To get out from this traffic jam.
Yeah. Yep. That's our way out. Follow that truck.
Leila, so this guy, Jerry, right? His name.
Yeah.
What he was doing for United Nations?
He was suspicious that something was happening, but he wanted to take care of his family, and he just tried to. He drove the car very fast in order to get rid of the people who are the zombies, because his suspicions are confirmed, because when suddenly the city went into chaos, erupts into chaos, and he saw the guy who was bitten by a zombie, and he turned into a zombie again.
Yeah. Can you describe this zombie a little bit? How we can distinguish
Ivan, the first thing I have noticed that his body got as if the body was frozen. Then he started doing some stupid movements, actions, and then suddenly he stood up and he changed. His face changed. I could see the veins in his face, even the veins in his eyes, in his pupils, right?
Yeah.
So he became a vicious creature. I don't know, dangerous,
Yeah. What struck me out in this movie is
I would be there. No, if I were there, I would be scared to death.
Yeah. It's interesting that in the movie everything happens in a blink, momentarily. So if you're a zombie, you become a zombie in 1 second.
But the thing is that they bite people.
Yeah.
So afterwards, they become the others, the normal human beings, turn into zombies.
So they are all good zombies, as we like, right? They have
Good
to bite
zombies.
you.
Thank you, Ivan.
But I mean the same pattern. So zombie doesn't they have to bite you, right? Like in every movie. So it's
Yeah.
nothing new. The same good zombies. Okay.
It's an infection, basically. They bite you, you get infected, you become one, you bite someone else, and it just
Hey, Lee, is it like being a vampire?
very similar, but vampires, you got to wait 3 days. Here,
Thank
you
you.
only wait 12 seconds.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
thank
and vampires they like they don't like sun, right? And you can scare them away with garlic or something. But zombie don't.
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
How we call it? Crucifixion?
Cross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so suddenly in one moment the whole city became a total house, right? Just was wow. So like what kind of human we are? It's so fast. I'm surprised.
Well, there was an explosion up ahead, and it's like, what the hell is going on here? Kaboom!
Yeah.
That's when he knew something was really wrong.
Yeah. I remember that thing. What his daughter has some disease, asthma.
Asthma,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a interesting moment in pharmacy. Vasant, do you remember this moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And when the chaos erupted everywhere, they went to some supermarket to get some supplies as well as medicines for their daughter. When he got a gun from that van, is that we call it caravan, but what is that? VR, something like that.
Big
The car
van,
van, they escaped. I don't know the name of that car.
like minibus or something. Yeah.
RV.
RV, yes, RV, right. And he got a gun from that vehicle, and they went into the store, and while they were searching for the medicine, there was another guy, a young man came into the store and with a pistol. Somehow he understood his position and decided to help him. He went into the store cupboards and got all the necessary medicines for his daughter and gave it to them. At the same time, there was a scuff, or a scuff or a fist fight. No, that's not a fist fight, but some goons were molesting his wife and was snatching something from her. Yeah. Then he shot one of them as a defense, and the one policeman appeared, and he also was trying to grab some supplies for him, and left the store. They left the store.
Scary moment, yeah. Do you remember when police came? He immediately like raised his rifle to show I'm
Not a threat. Yeah, I'm not a threat. Yeah.
But and I expected he will be arrested or something, but no one cares anymore. No.
That's right.
So you killed a man, okay, well, 1 million killed already, so who cares?
Yeah. Little irony there, yeah. I'm after toilet paper. Go ahead, leave.
Yeah, good moment. Yeah, it show us like the deep house, right? So no police. You don't have a phone to call someone, you know. But actually, our heroes, she had a phone, right? She had a number of some important guy to call. Who was that?
Yeah. One thing about this pharmacy scene I liked was there were 3 or 4 very brief subplots.
Mm-hmm.
When he went into the pharmacy to get the medicine, he couldn't find it. And at that moment, this guy shows up with a gun, probably a pharmacy employee, because he knew exactly where everything was.
Yeah.
And he said, "What do you want?" "I need medicine from a girl." "Oh, okay." So it was a moment of humanity.
Yeah.
You know, And then you had the wife being attacked by thugs, right? So he had to kill one of those guys, you know, another loss of humanity, if you will, and a loss. And then the policeman comes in and goes for food or whatever and ignores the murder and the gun, and you know. So this is a moment of like desperation.
Yep.
You know, the society has collapsed. The normal stuff, normal concerns don't apply. Now it's survival.
It's actually what I like it about this movie. You know, there is some language of the movies, right? So you can show something, you can describe some picture for hours to show like how big this house. But you can show one short scene with this policeman, and you understand that there is no order anymore. So
Yeah.
you are alone. You are in survival mode from now on.
Yeah.
Good. Gerard, please, could you continue?
Okay. After the pharmacy, I think they go to a building that the zombies are pursuing them, and family of who spoken Spanish.
Spanish, right?
Some refugees, like so-called refugees, some illegal immigrants.
We don't know why they're illegal. They can be legal.
Because they don't speak English.
They were Spanish. Yeah, Spanish.
So they help them, and he called his friend from the UN, and he told him that his friend told him that he could send an helicopter on the roof to the top of the building. So they had how do you call these that make like flares?
Flares. Yep.
Flares to signal their position. And the family, the guys from the family didn't want to come with them, and only the child, the boy,
Yeah.
went with them, because I don't know, maybe the zombies attacked his family.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So his family was already dead at that moment.
So they managed to escape.
Yeah. Do you remember that moment when the main guy, I always forget his name, Jerry, he was staying on the edge of the building for some moment and counting numbers. Why?
Because he thought maybe he was beaten. So if he was beaten, he would fall down and die instantly.
Yeah.
Because he knew he realized very soon the thing about the 12 seconds that it takes to transform.
Yeah, but where did he get this number? 12 seconds. He calculated it.
I think he has I think he has some mental disease or something, that it's compulsive, that he tends to count things.
Okay.
No. If you remember when he saw that the zombies were attacking people, and he was running away with the crowd, he kept looking back, and he saw a guy get bit. And because of his experience and knowing about viruses, he started counting 1001, 1002. And when he got to 1012, that guy had stood up and was a zombie. So his observation is how he knew that it was a 12-second transformation, if you will. So when he thought he was bit, he stood on the edge and counted to 12. And if he didn't change, he was safe. That was his assumption. And his wife is going, "What the hell is he doing?" Wait a minute. Okay.
Wait 12 seconds.
Yeah, wait 12 seconds. Yeah, that's cute.
Initially, I had a doubt that why he was standing on the edge of the roof, because if he become a zombie, then how would he understand that and would realize that and would fell down to commit suicide? But then now I realize that at the moment the virus get mutated in you,
Infected.
So infect you, your body will stretch like something like that. So that might cause the fall down.
Yeah. Plus, he wasn't dead and coming back to life. He was alive, so he could probably sense the transformation starting, and he could make a conscious effort to jump before he lost control. I'm guessing.
I guess there is a difference between normal zombies. They don't revive you. Like you have to be alive to get infested, right? So they cannot make a new zombie from a dead body. That's what I
True,
think.
true, true. They only attack living bodies. So if you're already dead, they won't bite you to infect you. Yeah.
They don't care. So how would we call this edge of the roof? Is it seal rail or something?
Just the edge of the
Yeah.
of the building. Stand on the edge. That's all we call it.
Yeah, standing on the edge, exactly.
Yeah. Now,
What about
the Spanish family scene, I think that was kind of thrown in to show you that Spanish are different than Americans, but they come together in time of crisis to help each other. So humanity transcends nationalities and ethnicities, and they got kids and little kindness back and forth. And then an interesting point is that Jerry told the Spanish father, he said, listen, I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, and I've learned one thing: movement is life. Don't stay in one place. You're going to die. You got to keep moving. And the father ignored him and said, do you need anything else before you leave?
Yeah.
What else, please?
Yeah, teacher Lee, what does that mean, ledge? Can you say that?
Ledge is the edge of a high fall. It can be the ledge of a cliff, the ledge of usually the ledge is not the top of a building. It's if you go down, windows. If you go down the building side a little bit, a window will have a little thing that sticks out. We usually call that ledge. So it's kind of like an edge in the middle of the building. You walk along the ledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. The top, we normally just say the edge of the building.
And I remember when Jerry said this phrase about that movement is life, I wasn't convinced as far as the Spanish guy. So I started to think, well, when you're moving, you are a good goal, right? For everyone. You are
a target, yeah.
You're a target. You attract
a moving target. Yeah, better to be a moving target than a stationary target.
Yeah, and not everyone has a guy to call who can send you a helicopter with soldiers. If I had one, many of my problems will disappear. In case of danger, call this.
We have a name when you sit in one place and you're an easy target to hit. We call you a sitting duck.
Yeah,
we're a sitting duck out here. They can just shoot us at their leisure.
Yeah, but for me, it's not clear that it's the best strategy, to run on the streets, So sitting somewhere in hiding, if you have some resources for that, and figure out what is happening on, looks not that bad.
Yeah, he knew he had a rescue. The Spanish guy might not have known he had a rescue coming.
So at least here we have some door, we have, some food, and we go on the street for what? No one came, so.
Full of zombies, vicious.
And I don't know how the zombies got in because they had the door barricaded. It's not like they had, hatchets or axes and chopped their way in. How did they get in? I don't understand.
Yeah. That sounds, what do you think?
Yes. When you go out to the street, you will have nothing to buy and you will be bitten.
Yeah. So if you have a friend with helicopter, with soldiers, with rifle, go out, right? But if you don't, stay somewhere in a safe place. And I noticed another thing. These zombies, they don't use any tools, right? As teacher said, door was barricaded and they don't use, axe or stick or something. So it's not easy to break in this door, to break.
Yeah, so that was kind of a plot hole to me.
Okay, so they are saved. Finally, they arrived to some, what was USS
boat?
Some boat, but it was a military boat, right? There is always name USS something, USS Caliber. Actually, how we call this?
Aircraft carrier or?
Yeah. You start usually with USS.
USS, yeah. United States ship.
Okay, so some military ship with some, with some people. How was they chosen? I have no idea.
Refugees. they were essential refugees, which meant they were probably the families of the soldiers on the ship, or the families of agents like Jerry that were doing some vital mission for the UN or for the US military. But they were people that had a purpose. If you didn't have a purpose, they classified you as F6 and you had to leave.
Yeah.
What is F6 actually? What is F6? It's kind of priority or what?
Yeah, just a code.
Okay. I mean, I thought it's something like common Navy or something.
Probably a ranking how important you were. If you were an A or a B or a C, you probably stayed on board. But if you were a D or an E or an F, you were out of here.
Yeah, and when they show these bunk beds, you know, small space, I remember how teacher Lee was describing his Navy experience in submarine. So was it similar?
Yep, we had three officers in a room as big as a small bathroom. We had three bunk beds, and if I crossed my arms on my chest, I was hitting the bottom of the bed above me, so there was almost no space.
But I remember how Karen, wife of Jerry, she said it's still bigger than our first flat. So
yeah. Yeah, so a little humor there was kind of cute. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
She was pretty calm. I think it's very important. You know, when you are in danger and someone from your family or your friends panicking all the time, you have problem. You have a problem, right? So
yeah.
She
was very careful to protect her children. Says, can y'all talk about that somewhere else? You're gonna worry the kids, you know, scare the kids. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. She made a good impression on me.
Yeah. Mama.
So, Leila, what happened after?
And afterwards, the black man from the UN took Jerry to show the technicians, maybe the biologists, how they're working on this virus. And meanwhile, a very important person, I don't know his rank, he came and asked, the captain, thanks Lee, the captain asked Jerry to join the mission, and the mission was to find the resource of the spread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Patient
Jerry
zero,
said,
right?
right. Jerry said no, but he was threatened by the captain, and also the black man said, if you don't accept this, you will be, out of the ship with your family.
Yeah, as teacher said, F6 classification, right?
That's right. If you're not an A, you're an F.
Yeah. And then again, we have this conversation between wife and husband. She told, I know how bad was this job, what it did to you, what it did to you, and so on. So we can imagine that he had like terrible experience in the past. He was an experienced guy.
Yeah, he had quit that job previously and kind of retired.
Yeah.
Stay at home. He was a Mr. Mom, stay at home dad, and it probably made him paranoid and tense and angry and depressed, and she didn't want him to go back to that again, but he had no choice.
Yeah. How you have a saying, right? Man do what he needs to do.
A man has to do what a man has to do.
Exactly. We will send your family away. Okay.
I know the same thing. A woman, not a man.
Yeah.
And a woman has to do what a woman has to do.
Well, that's true.
Okay, so who is patient zero and why it's important for medicine? Now we all know because of coronavirus, we know that to beat the virus, to find a vaccine against it, we have to find like initial source of contamination, right? The first one. So we have to find patient zero and the first person who was infected and solve the like genome of the virus. I don't know. If I
It was in China, I guess, right? The patient zero,
South Korea.
South Korea.
South Korea
Ah,
here, yeah.
sorry, right. The outbreak, okay, was in China, right?
Mhm.
You're thinking of coronavirus.
It's easy to mess this
Don't
up.
tell me, don't tell me. I'm still thinking.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, what's up? So they arrived to this. What is was military base or something in South Korea?
An airport
I don't remember
or
actually.
military base?
Military base.
Was it military base? Okay.
What's up? Tell us what
Yes.
happened.
Yeah, he went to the military base, and at the time when they were out of the aircraft, they could see a lot of zombies. Was attracted by the sound they made, the noise they made. Then, unfortunately, the doctor slipped down and killed himself by mistake. Then later, the military crew rescued Jerry and taken him to the base to inquire. That's where they found a cell with a lot of dead bodies. The place first infection was found, and eventually they put the cell on fire, I think. So they wanted to get rid of all of them. So I think it looked like ashes. So I think they might have set it on fire. So then later, they found another guy, an agent or a spy, in another cell, and he somehow gave a hint about Israel, uh, about how they are building a huge wall in a few days. So
So it was suspicious that Israeli people, they were kind of ready. They kind of expected this problem, right? Yeah. And speaking about this doctor who slipped and shot himself in the first minute, yeah. Do you remember how important he was for the whole, humankind? So on the ship, on this military ship, they said it's the only man who can solve this situation, So it's all our whole. Please take care of him.
I know, and he died just right off the bat immediately. And he shot himself. He fell on his sword. Pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
There was one thing I was thinking while watching the film. Israel is among the first to apply a self-quarantine. How did they know this? I didn't understand it.
How do they know what?
How did Israel know about this? Because I didn't understand it.
It's a conspiracy theory that CIA guy told us. Sure, do you remember?
I'll
Yeah.
explain it to you later.
Yes,
Okay.
because the Mossad got communication from India that some spirit, some disease or something.
They got an email from, was it South Korea or India? From India?
India.
They got an email that said zombies, and nobody believed it except Israel believed it.
Okay.
So Israel took measures, assuming the whole world became zombies. So this CIA agent said, you need to go to Israel because they're safe. They
know
knew
something.
what, they knew what to do. So they knew something. So go there and talk to Jurgen.
Do you remember this thing with phones? So he had a phone, right? Some
From
satellite system or what it was. I'm not
Satellite phone.
Satellite
Yeah.
phone. As far and his wife had the
Yes.
same, right? And he decided that he will call every day and once a day, and it will mean that everything is going well.
And they had to refuel the airplanes before he could leave for Israel. So they were riding bicycles to move quietly.
Mhm.
And then and his wife chose that moment to call him. And then somebody said, "Please silence your cell phones," but it was a little too late at that point. Little movie theater humor.
Yeah, a bit of humor. Yeah, because I don't know how it's happened, but usually my colleagues and I, we have phone calls during the meetings. Not after, not before, but during the meetings.
Murphy's
Okay.
Law. Murphy's Law.
Yeah. Yeah. And everybody looks at you like, why didn't you silence your phone?
Yeah. So they arrived to Israel, right? To, I guess, what the city was?
It was Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. Okay, so they arrived to Jerusalem and found that there is a big wall and they are safe, but they are allowing people to come in, right? They say every human is every saved human, not a zombie, right? Something like this. Yeah.
One more humans, one less zombie.
One more human, one less zombie. Yeah. Good idea, yeah. As far as you can, maintain all this growth, so it's a good idea. So, and I remember there was a story about what is about 10 person.
The 10th
Giraffe.
man theory.
10th
Yeah.
man, Giraffe, could you tell us about this theory?
The 10th man, no, I don't know.
No, oh, it was funny. So let me try to explain. So this guy, he kind of a government worker. I don't know what was his name. Ratchasha, is it his name? Israeli guy.
I can't remember.
No, Rakshasa is the word from India mentioning
okay.
zombie.
So I'm sorry. Let me see on the cast. So in Jorgen or Jurgen.
Jurgen was his name.
Jurgen, yeah, the 10th man is right. So they said we had a lot of intels in the past and somehow we missed them. So we missed that Israeli men were under genocide of Nazi and so on, but we have this intel. So we decided to have a special position, a 10th man. So if in a company, in a crew, 10 men agree, but one has a one have to be against, have to check this again and
Devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate, yeah. So
what if all 9 of you are wrong?
Yeah. So imagine something weird, some impossible scenarios, but take care of everything, like something like this.
And he gave some examples. I can't remember all of them, but one was like World War II or something. We thought, that we'd be safe. Everyone agreed we'd be safe. And then Hitler killed 6 million Jews, and then we never imagined when we sent athletes to the Olympics in Munich, Germany, that someone would kill all of our athletes. And then some other case. So he said, when someone said zombie apocalypse, and the 9 men said, nah, that can't happen. And the 10th man said, okay, we're going to assume it happens. Build a wall.
Or at least be ready to build a wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a funny idea.
Yeah. And I like it, the picture of this wall. I like it how it was in the movie. So how zombie overcomes this wall. They are standing on each other. They are climbing on each other's bodies. And eventually they went inside. And Jerusalem has fallen, right? Or how to say it? He was infected by zombies. So he was taken by zombies.
Just think that they were human beings once. I felt pity for them because they look like insects.
Yep. And there was a girl who was in charge of accompanies Jerry from military or something, and she got bitten by a zombie. What Jerry did, he immediately cut her arm just to prevent contamination. After she asked him, how did you know that it will work? What he said, I didn't know. I just tried. Vasant, please.
Yes, he immediately acted, and I liked that point because, however, you're gonna die soon, so just cut your little part first to check this out.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it doesn't help. Who knows? Let's try it.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And he held her and was count. I thought he was going to put a gun to her head. 1, 2, 3, 12. Okay.
It worked.
But he didn't use a gun, but he was counting. He said, "You're
Yeah.
going to make it."
Funny moment.
Uh,
Okay, Leila, so where they go after Jerusalem and how?
They took the plane, okay, and he helped her on the plane, and he made her calm. And afterwards, they went to, I don't remember, because even the pilots don't know where they were going. But then Jerry talked to a person on a satellite phone again, and they know now the direction where I must remember.
It was some Belgium or something.
it was
Belgium,
in Belgium, yeah.
Belgium, right?
It was a research center that dealt in viruses.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they were talking about how to handle the virus there, right? Mhm.
Tell us more.
Okay, and it's important to, so let me mention a couple things. When they took the plane, they didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
They just wanted to go somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So they got on this plane, and the plane didn't know where to go because the whole world is in chaos. So this is where his skill and training saved the world. Okay, it had some flashbacks where he saw a bunch of zombies run past a person.
But
Yeah.
Teacher Lee, I think it will be after, right? In this Belgium center, right?
No, that's why he wanted to go there.
You
He
think-
wanted the deadly diseases
Mhm.
to make himself sick to test his theory. So that's what made him choose a WHO research center as his destination. So he thought back and he remembered seeing different scenes where a little deaf boy wasn't attacked and a guy with a limp wasn't attacked. And remember
And again, movie was good at this scenario and this way to show, because when zombie was like a stream divided between this guy, it made me think. At that moment, I was thinking, what makes it happen? You know? So just because this guy was bald or something, but he was bald because he probably has cancer or something. So it was a hint for us, right?
And the kid, he seemed like he was, well, I guess he wasn't deaf because he put his hands over his ears, but he had some illness. But remember also at the South Korea military base, one soldier had a limp,
Yeah.
had a hurt leg. Remember that? And they said that when the zombies overran his team, they killed all of his team, but they didn't touch him. He lived. Remember, he said, "I was just lucky." Well,
Yeah.
the zombies didn't kill him because he had some kind of a problem. His body wasn't 100% healthy, so they ignored him. So Jerry took that into account too. Odd that you've got a hurt leg and they ignored you. So he took all these little things and he remembered the words of the UN doctor that didn't last very long. But the UN doctor said, "Mother Nature's a bitch.
Yeah.
She hides her secrets. And what you think is she'll show you a strength, but it's really her greatest weakness." So he remembered all that, and then he remembered that apparently a weak person is the strength.
Yeah.
So that's when he said, "I need a research center." So he told the captain to take the phone, and he had told Terry that he needed to get to a WHO research center to get a disease to infect himself to test this theory.
What's else, please?
Yes, I was also confused when the zombie ran past the boy with a bald head. I thought he almost looked like the last airbender. Right? So I thought this could be going to be something supernatural, and I was waiting for Jerry to rescue him back to do some research, but that didn't happen.
Okay, Vasant, please continue with the story. So they arrived to this research laboratory center or something.
Yeah, and initially they were suspicious about them. So they locked him uh, on the bed, and he asked them to call uh, by using his satellite phone to know who he is and what was the purpose. Then the team understood, the scientist and the doctor team understood his purpose, and they explained about the viruses and everything. And he suggested his idea and his theory about infecting a human with deadly virus so that the zombies would not attack them. And in order to
Yeah, what was the problem? What was the problem? Problem was that there is like two chambers in this research center, two branches, or how we call it, two wings. Yeah, two wings.
Yeah.
And one of it was infected by zombies, right? Because some very first like source, how we call this, example, right, was sent to this laboratory. So there is
Yeah, they had virus and bacteria samples.
yeah, but I mean, how they got infested by this zombie virus? Because they when people got this example of the zombie flesh, I guess they send it to this center, right? So
This wasn't zombie research. This was
yeah.
coronavirus and polio and Ebola and other diseases.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't looking for a zombie cure. He was looking for a disease to infect himself, like Ebola, so they wouldn't attack him.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, but this
But he
center
wanted
was
something that wouldn't kill him, hopefully.
but this center was one wing of this hospital or center was already infected by zombie like virus or something.
Well, yeah, somehow a zombie got in, or
No.
There was a mistake. There was a mistake. Why would you know?
oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Got
that's right. The
infected.
doctor
doctor
got
got
some on
infected.
him or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And Gerard, your video is frozen to me, so in case if you're showing something,
Okay.
we can see.
I don't know what happened.
Yes, maybe stop and start it again or something. Okay, Vasant, you have a question?
Teacher Lee, what do we call the bridge that connects two wings? No,
If it's in the air, we call it a skyway. If it's above the ground, we call it a skyway or a bridge.
Yeah.
If it's on the ground, just a hallway.
I remember they call it this corridor or something, right?
Yeah, corridor, hallway,
this one.
long and skinny. Yep.
Okay. Gerard, tell us about this action, about this operation, let's call it operation, of getting disease in this week.
Three of them, Jerry and the soldier, the woman soldier, and one of the doctors, armed with an axe and some, how do you call this bar to
Crowbar.
Crowbar, yes, crowbar.
And baseball bat.
Baseball, big weapons,
Gerard,
pistol.
Gerard, your sound become terrible. You probably use another microphone or something.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please.
So the girl had a pistol, but just in case, because the sound attracts zombies. So
Yeah.
when they were walking,
Oh, they say that the zombies they're just like sleeping creatures, right?
dormant creatures. Yes.
Teacher me, please.
So they learned a couple things from the doctors. They learned that the creatures were attracted to noise.
Yeah.
And he learned that if you killed one of them, it kind of got the rest of them agitated. So he said, don't kill any of them and don't make noise. Now, I'd like to mention about the female soldier. Her name is Sagan or Sayin. I don't know how they pronounce it in Israeli. But she was, as we saw, tough and efficient and fearless and brave. And suddenly her arm got cut off to save her life. And at that point, she kind of felt useless. You know, how can I fight now? You know, I'm a one-armed soldier. I'm useless. But she never gave up, and she kept trying to. She ended up saving his life a couple times. And here she volunteered to go out there and die. But even though she was kind of, you know, halfway helpless, she was still willing to put her life in danger. And she said, I'll take the gun. I'm not a, you know, if I've got to die shooting them, I'll die shooting them. But she was a strong character the whole movie. And she ended up, because she didn't give up, you know, out of despair for being one-armed, she stuck in there and contributed to the movie and the success of the mission. So I thought that was a good subplot also.
Yeah, you silly women. Women are like,
That's right.
Yeah, it's a modern movie. Yeah, so we can see that women they are better than men in every aspect, right?
Well, I mean, I think this is realistic. I've heard that Israeli women soldiers are tough. You know, they carry their weight.
I am tough as well.
We have no doubts about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I think it's a good feature for our society, for modern movies and so on. So take a look on old movies. So like 50 years ago, what happened? So what women usually do in that movies? They were just screaming and accompany the main character. That's all, right?
Yeah.
So finally it's changed. Okay, so now we have, you know, reverse roles and
Also, Ivan, in this film, there is harmony between people.
Yep.
Actually, yes. Actually, you know, we can see that all the humankind it's on all his best. It's best, right? So people helping each other, people not like doing bad things to each other. So they are all combined, joined together against the zombies. So something like this. Yeah.
Yep. Israelis and the CIA helped the UN. The UN has a bad reputation if you don't realize it. Remember the CIA guy said, "Oh, the UN, the world is saved."
In such a sarcastic way, right?
But it's true, I think. You know, I don't know anything the UN's ever done good for the world.
No, yes. Okay, so we are at the Layla, please finish the story.
My dear friend, the last part is the part I enjoyed a lot because he injected himself, you know, and he didn't know what he injected, but the zombie was waiting outside the door and he can see his face, he can see everything. So just in an instant, he injected something and he opened the door and he waited for some time, then he opened the door and the zombie didn't realize his presence.
The zombie
So-
wasn't interested, so probably.
Yeah. He didn't realize anyway. So, and then he went to the machine there and he drank Coca-Cola and then on purpose, he dropped a lot of Cokes on the floor in order to have some noise to attract their attention. Again, the same thing happened. The zombies didn't show interest in him.
So he found a solution, right?
Yeah, but what he injected isn't known, so I don't know what the solution is.
But he has this jar, so the scientists, the big guys, how we call guys with big head.
Remember later, afterward, a female doctor gave him a
yeah.
shot.
Yes, gave him a shot. Right.
So I think she knew what he used. He probably said, "I use this bottle." So she gave him
Meningitis.
Yeah, it was meningitis. Yeah,
Wow.
seemed like a mixture of several things, but meningitis.
Wow, Gerard. Again, you are so observant. I am jealous.
Yeah, I would choose something more.
Yes, I heard that.
Yeah, you're right. I think the final thing they used was a mixture of meningitis and something else and something else and something else. But they had SARS. They had
Ebola.
Ebola, Legionnaire's disease. They had all kind of stuff. So
Oh, okay, I see now. So this coronavirus that we have now is just a first step, you know, to have this vaccine against zombie apocalypse.
yeah, we may end up with several of these vaccines being mixed together to kind of help each other, you know, augment each other. Who knows? We call it a cocktail. When you mix things together to have a bigger effect, we call it a cocktail of drugs.
Yep. What's else? Please.
Yeah, the point when he was when he hesitated about which one he should inject himself, then I thought he is going to follow intelligent way to get a message from the monitoring team. You know, he was looking at the CCTV camera and he could have written something like that. If I chose the correct bottle, then you should turn it off so that I could see the red light flashing off. Then I would inject that medicine, something like that. But simply he
was
like a lucky draw.
He was a risky guy.
They couldn't talk to him, so he had no way to ask him which one should I take. Should have probably found out before he went.
I expected he will write like, move camera to the left if I'm something.
But he wrote, tell my family I love them. So cute.
So originally his plan was to go there, put all the diseases in a container and bring them back. That was his plan. But when he got trapped there, he realized he was going to have to do the test himself. So that's when he said, tell my family I love them.
Lee, is it because of his training he could be a decision maker on the spot?
Yes, that was what he did. He went into dangerous situations, riots, civil wars. He was a quick decision, decisive person who could always manage to find an escape route.
Wow.
So he had survival skills. Yeah.
Tomorrow I will apply for a place, to be like him.
Right. He could stay calm in a dangerous situation and get out of it. So that was why they chose him.
But Leila, do you think he enjoyed his work, his job? I don't think so.
Ivan, only what he was thinking is his family. This is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's good. But
he's dedicated himself to his mission.
But if you have dilemma, to be a hero and to fight with zombie, and another one to save the world, sitting on your chair, I choose the second one.
Yes,
that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to stay on the ship with his family.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an option.
But there weren't any trained people like him around.
Okay, Gerard, please.
When Jerry was injecting himself, I thought he could have shown to the camera which virus he chose. I thought, why he didn't do that? I was answering myself, just in case.
I guess he figured if he died before he got back, it wouldn't matter. And if he did get back, he could tell him. Okay, something else that I'll mention here, just another little subplot. When he was on the plane going to nowhere and it crashed, and we didn't mention why the plane crashed.
Yeah.
That was another decision he made.
Yes.
When they didn't hear from him by phone for like 2 or 3 days, the aircraft carrier, the captain assumed he was dead. And therefore his family was now non-essential. So his family got F6 and they had to be flown off the ship.
Right.
So they kind of betrayed him a little bit, but they thought he was dead. Now, why would you take non-essential families off the ship? Why not just leave everybody on the ship? Did you think about that?
Because ship is small, I guess. You cannot.
Space and food.
Yeah.
The ship can't go anywhere to get more food, so they've got a limited amount of food. They can only afford to keep essential personnel alive. If you're non-essential, you're endangering the mission.
Isn't it merciless?
But it's a good motivation, as we can see.
It's necessary, though.
No way.
I think the The plane, it was a plane from Belarus?
Belarus, yeah,
It was the Belarus Airlines anyway. Yeah.
I think they wanted to go to Sardinia, you know, the island of Sardinia, in the
Mhm.
middle of the Mediterranean Sea. There is an island in front of Italy.
Yep.
I can't remember, but I think when they got up there, they decided they didn't know where to go.
Because I think they wanted to go to Sardinia, but they changed their mind after talking with the guy from the UN. And
Right.
And
they went to a safest place.
I noticed that those Russian pilots, because you know Hollywood is changing, so they spoke like flawless Russian. It's never happened usually. Usually they speak some nonsense that pretend to be Russian, but that time they finally found a Russian person, you know. As
like in the 80s movies, like the Arnold movie, Red Kid.
Now, on the airplane, what started the situation on the airplane? Do you remember?
well, they
Stowaway
there was a zombie, right? Somehow.
Stowaway zombie.
Yeah.
Where was the zombie stowing away?
Um,
It didn't make sense, did it? He was in the lavatory.
Yeah, somehow. But I remember small dog that was barking on the zombie. Remember?
The dog could sense the zombie,
Yeah.
Sounds
but he waited until this stewardess went back there right in front of his door before he opened the door and attacked her. So he was a cunning zombie.
Yeah, and I like how Jerry was making his decision to throw a grenade. So he was, it was on his face, right? So it's a bad solution, obviously. It's a bad decision, obviously. But what I have, so it's what options I have. And he was not alone. He made this decision like in a cooperation with this lady, with the Israeli lady, right? So he asked for permission or for advice. So you know, he's a cooperative player, team player, I would say.
He kind of looked at her and said, "You know what I'm going to do. Get ready. We can die for sure, or we can die 90% probability."
Yeah. So I don't know if I decide to jump out from the plane, you know, to save, because it's a scary thing to do, right?
So, and the pilots tried to control the plane and land, but if you saw the nose of the plane broke off and rolled over.
Yeah. So I guess it was impossible, because how plane without wings, without, you know, this how we call this aerodynamics or something. So, you know, when they built a plane, when they're planning it, there is a big like building with a wing.
That's the fuselage or the body of the plane.
Yeah. So aero tube or something is where they.
Yeah, we call it the
Tested.
fuselage or the body.
Yeah.
So when you got a big hole in one side, it depressurized and.
It lost its physics. It doesn't flow.
Yeah,
way.
yeah. The airflow going down the side of the airplane was unbalanced now.
Yeah, so it was impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, so movie does not really have this happy end, because they did not like defeat all the zombies, but they say we want some time, and we will use that time for, you know, to kill them all. I guess.
The trick was with the not really a cure, but with the bacteria, with the vaccine, they could be ignored, so they could move among the zombies to get food and supplies and
Yep.
maybe plan and trap the zombies and execute them in a controlled manner without chaos.
Yeah. Well, good movie after all. Good graphic, good playing, good scenario. So I cannot count anything as a bad part of this movie. Everything is good. Okay, maybe a few missed plots, or how is it, plot holes, maybe a few, but it's okay. You know,
no, I
Problem.
like it as well. Don't worry.
One thing I liked about this movie compared to other zombie movies, in most apocalypse movies, society's already destroyed. And it's just one or two people trying to survive. But this movie, we're in the middle of the apocalypse as it's happening, and the world's societies or countries are still functioning nominally. They're able to function a little bit. So he was able to fly from one place to another place to another place. So again, it showed world cooperation, you know, to try
Yeah.
to solve this worldwide problem. We're all in the same boat. So I thought that was a unique
Yeah.
aspect of it that I kind of enjoyed.
And this makes us happy, smile, because we need that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we can see that a little bit now, right? So
Yeah.
now in the world, it's, well, it's still not the best of the humankind, but something we can see. Vasant, please.
Yeah, I have never been to any airplane, so you people tell me, yes, the falling suitcase sound is louder inside an airplane in compared to the elevator sound, the noise of the airplane.
It's just like you're in a room. If you drop a suitcase in your room, you'll hear it.
Okay.
It's not magnified. It's just a noise. But I tell you, the idea of stacking up suitcases to hold out zombies, that's a stupid idea. You know, it's not stable. It's not going to hold together. They're just going to push them out of the way.
Yep.
But it's better than nothing, I guess.
Okay, we have a few questions on our Padlet. So first one, how come he was not affected, though he swallowed the blood? You know, in the beginning, we can remember on the roof of this building.
Mm.
So how? I don't know, because you have to be beaten or something.
Well, if you, this has actually got a basis in reality. It's like rattlesnake venom.
Mhm.
If a rattlesnake bites you and that venom gets in your bloodstream, you're going to die. But if you swallow the venom, it goes into your stomach and the acid in your stomach neutralizes it and it doesn't hurt you at all. So this is probably the same idea. Because he swallowed it, it got into his stomach and the acid probably decomposed it where it wasn't a threat. Whereas if he'd got it in an open wound where it got directly into his blood, he would have been infected in 12 seconds. So that does make sense.
Do you remember how North Korea managed to fight the disease? Because they extracted all the teeth of their citizens. No, the actor that was David Morse, the actor played by David Morse, told them that.
Yeah, the CIA guy said North Korea survived. They had no casualties because they pulled out 30 million people's teeth, or however many people it was. You can't bite, you can't infect.
Without the
But there is a real like disease, rabies, or how we call it?
rabies, yes.
Rabies. Yeah.
Rabies.
It was the same way. You have to be contacted into blood, right? So you can.
Yeah.
So,
But at the beginning of the movie, they talk about rabies and
Yep.
about the animals, and this disease was related to rabies, I think.
okay, yeah. So another question: Why, Jerry? Why he's counting the number from 1,000, not from 1?
Lee told us. You know that.
But he could count in level just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But he counted 1,001, 1,002, right?
We do that because it takes approximately 1 second to say 1,001, 1,002. So that's how we do it in English. When we're counting seconds, we don't say 1, 2, 3. We say 1,001, 1,002, 1,000. Yeah,
So it's
that's
maybe
why.
the training as well.
Vasant, please.
Yes, because he is in a panicked situation, so he could have counted it very quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
5.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 1001 would take some time.
Yeah,
Right.
Just a natural way to make you like feel some words to make a pause. Yeah.
And we
Sure.
do that in real life. We do that. Yeah.
Sure.
Until so Jerry knows that it takes 12 seconds, and he counts until 12 to say somebody is infected. But actually, he wouldn't need to count until 12 because the transformation starts from the beginning, and it takes 12 seconds to do the full transformation. But counting until 5 or 6 is enough. You'll see if the guy is transformating.
He want to be sure, you know, just in case. Let's call it, how we call it? Usually is it a term like something cool down period or something? You know, in bank sometimes you make a contract and it includes some period for cooling down. So it will
We
not
called it a grace period.
grace period. Okay. So
It's kind of a waiting time to see if you want to change your mind or go ahead, or
okay.
before they charge you a late fee. If you have a grace period to take action or do nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say it was a grace period for virus. Maybe he's
Yeah.
decided. Yeah. Or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How does the zombie distinguish healthy prey? Just by looking. Yeah. But we don't know, is it just by looking or is it just smelling or another feeling? You know, these zombies, they are not under investigation yet. They are not researched.
And they gave an example that in nature, some animals will only eat living creatures and they won't eat dead creatures. I forget what the example was. But vultures are the opposite. Vultures only eat dead
Yeah.
creatures. They don't eat living creatures.
Okay, and the last question that we have is why did the U.S. Army fail to keep their promise to take care of his family? Well, we covered it because of resources. You know, sometimes you can promise something, but you cannot keep your promise. So life is life, right?
Once he's on the mission, they're essential, but once he's dead, they're no longer essential.
Yeah, very, 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 I would say pragmatic, and I would say Russian approach. You know, you are good.
Wow.
you are a good guy until you doing a good thing. You know, when you stop it, throw away.
Thank you. You are.
Tough decisions. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Okay, if you have any questions, please time to ask, or we can go to the slides. Okay, let's go then. World War Z. I'm struggling with chat. I want to see it. Okay, can you still see the pictures?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a hands and a lady
Yes.
face, yeah,
Yes.
and a fist.
The eyes that Layla doesn't like.
I don't.
Okay, let's start with a peaceful picture, Layla.
Leila.
Yeah.
You said me?
Yep.
Okay. This is a very lovely kitchen. And Jerry is making pancake for the girls, especially. They love the pancake. The lady, the wife, is drinking coffee. And I can see a lovely lamp on the right. And there must be a kind of toast. Like, I don't know if it's the radio or.
There's a
I don't know.
radio on the right, I think.
Yeah, the yellowish one, Lee, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they were happy, they were cheerful, and they think they're going to lead their normal life that day. And I can see some mugs and some paper napkins. Yes, stool. And then that scissors on the left, right? That's all.
That looks like a blender by the window on the left.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
mixer
Blender.
or a blender.
Yeah, I know. Is it blender?
Uh,
The white
probably-
one. The
Yeah,
white one.
Yeah, got a clear picture, clear glass
Okay.
on it. And then maybe
Okay.
a coffee maker to the left of that.
Mhm.
And then maybe a toaster or a microwave oven. I can't see what the next thing is. So you got a TV in the kitchen, so that's pretty fancy.
Yeah, I love it.
But radio, it's not very fancy. It's old fashioned, right? On the right,
Mhm.
have radio.
Yeah.
Do you remember when they visited the Spanish family? They used the radio as well. So
Yeah.
it's police speaking for your sakes. What was the message? I forgot. For your own
Don't
sake,
go
stay
out.
home. Yeah, don't go
Yeah,
out.
at least 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, stay at home and stock up on food for 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's an
month-
exhaust. Oh, go ahead.
1 month ago, I would laugh at the moment, stay 2 weeks at the home. But nowadays, it's something normal. No, only 2 weeks. Okay, it's not a problem.
Lee, what about curtain? We call it jalousie in
Curtain?
Turkish.
Shaders?
Yeah.
We call them blinds. We would call them blinds. These are nice quality. These are wooden blinds instead of the cheap plastic ones.
Okay. There
Or
are
shutters.
plastic ones.
You can call them shutters also, but
Shutters.
usually we call them blinds. They've got cupboards and cabinets. Where Brad Pitt is standing, there's an exhaust hood over the stove for smoke and grease to go up, and that filters the stuff out of the air. Looks like some books on the left. Books in the kitchen's kind of unusual to me.
But the girls are about to go to school.
But
So-
they are with recepts, you know, so they are with a way of cooking. Describe the way of cooking.
Recipe, you mean?
That's recipes, yes.
Recipe books, possibly, yep. She's holding some kind of stuffed animal. I don't know if it's a cow or what it is.
Yeah. Let me see.
Do you remember in the car when they were like driving, this small lady was very frightened and they said, I need my blanket, or what they need. Put me under the blanket, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's a kind of stuffed bear or something like that.
There's a lamp in the kitchen counter. Now that's unusual. We never have a lamp in the kitchen, so that's kind of strange.
Okay. Okay, let's go to house. Vasant, please describe this one.
This is a crossroad. Is that right? Crossroad.
Crossroad intersection.
Yeah.
Yep.
Intersection, and this is where a truck just cleared all the cars and bumped into another vehicle. I don't know who is driving that truck. Maybe
Probably a zombie.
okay. And yeah, we could see people are panicking and running away from the intersection, and we could see a shop. Is that a shop with the two umbrellas on the side?
We
I
call
can
it a vendor stand.
I understand. I can read
Probably sells hot dogs or something.
Yeah, hot dogs. It's written on the roof.
And we could see traffic lights and road signs. And what are the poles for? Okay, I think the poles are for the to hold the traffic lights, right?
Yeah. Or power lines, but probably the lights. Yeah.
Gerard, please, question.
Would you use the verb ram
Yeah.
Okay, the truck is doing the truck, pushing the other cars.
Yeah.
Ram, yeah.
Ram, okay.
Smash into or to ram.
Lee, what about collided? Is it different?
Collided is okay, but ram and smash have more energy.
Okay.
Collide is just they hit each other.
Thanks.
But same idea though. They collided. Okay.
And I could see a small letterbox kind of thing on the side of the road. So what is
There's
this for?
a mailbox on the left. Our mailboxes are blue and have 4 feet, 4 legs. So we can
Right.
put mail in there.
Okay, then it is for sending the mails, no, not receiving. Okay.
Yeah, for some.
Yeah, it's just for sending mail. This is Broad Street in New York City. There's a street sign there, Broad Street. That's a famous street in, well, I'm thinking of Broadway. Never mind. It's just Broad Street.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do we have so many traffic lights?
Because it's a crossroad.
True, but why don't we have 1 instead of like 3 or 4?
Because you have to see it from any position, you know. So.
Several lanes, you have several lanes.
That's true also. Visibility, also redundancy. If one red light burns out, we've got 1 or 2 more that you can still see red and green. So we always have 2 or 3 of every light.
Yeah.
Okay.
for redundancy.
Nowadays it's different. You know, in these traffic lights we have a lot of small diodes. How we call it? So
Yeah.
LIDs?
LEDs, yeah. So not one lamp. It cannot like.
Yeah. So maybe they won't burn out as easily now.
Yeah.
But when a light burns out, somebody just runs through there and smashes or collides with someone that has a green light.
But it's written in the rules, you know, the traffic rules that if it doesn't work, you have to suppose you don't have priority.
Right. We say treat it as a stop, four-way stop if there's no lights.
Yep.
But some people are stupid and still don't do it.
Gerard, please.
I wanted to ask a question to Teacher Lee. Is it compulsory to stop when the traffic light is red in America? Because Holly told me once that in some states it changed. So there's no way you can cross. Is it true? Or?
No. A red light, you always have to stop. Always. Now,
okay.
we have a rule that if there's no traffic going across, after you stop, you can turn right on a red light.
Yeah, we adopted that from US recently, and it made a lot of confusion on our roads, but more or less we adopted it.
But you're supposed to stop, look, and then turn. A lot of people don't stop. They just try to turn right through and they have an accident.
Vasant, please.
Yeah, what I assume from the traffic lights, numerous traffic lights, is if the main traffic light is the view of the main traffic light is hidden by a truck or something, a bigger vehicle, so you can look at the other one. And if you are at the right side and you are about to take a right turn, it helps that the right side pole helps you.
Yep. So they're all synchronized. They change at the same time. So any one of them shows you what you can do. Our taxis in America are generally yellow. So that yellow car is a taxi. And in front of the taxi this way, you can see there's a police car. It looks like a station wagon police car or an SUV police car because it has the blue lights on top. Only police cars can have the blue light on top. And there's also a green taxi, green and white taxi in front of the yellow taxi. Taxis have a little sign on the top of the car that says taxi. So you can see the green and white taxi has a little sign on top that says taxi. So the yellow car and the green and white car are both taxis. Okay?
Vasant?
Yeah, Teacher Lee, do all the police cars have the sirens on top of the cars?
Yes.
Because I saw some, yeah.
We have unmarked cars that are like secret, you know, they're hidden so that they look like a regular car, but when they want to arrest someone, they've got a little portable light. They'll stick it up on the roof, woo, 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 and then they'll stop the person. So we have unmarked cars, but the real police cars always have a blue light on top. Yes.
From my impression, Americans like this lights and illuminations and signals. And
well, they mean things. Okay, when it's a blue light, it's police. When it's a red light flashing, it's a fire truck or an ambulance. So their emergency lights tell you that these are special vehicles and you need to yield and let them go by.
Okay.
We have the loud sirens too.
Yeah.
But the lights are nice.
Okay, we have the same, and we have a red and blue colors on the police car and I guess on emergency cars, but it has a special meaning. So if only red color is pulsing, you have to make a way for this vehicle, but you don't have to stop. But if red and blue is pulsing, you have to stop immediately. So we have this meaning.
We have the same system here as Lee mentioned. Maybe we must have taken yours.
Probably. It seems like we usually lead the way and people copy us because it's new anyway. So why do it different than
Yep.
You know,
No,
yeah.
the taxis are yellow. Everything is the same here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I skipped a few pictures because we have almost don't have a time, so let's do something with many details on
Yes.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah, Gerard, please describe this one.
Okay, here we can see the helicopter arriving at the boat, the what we talk about, that has many civil people. Maybe we can presume that it's related to the soldiers that are in the boat. Okay, what can we see here? Military helicopters, a big vehicle on a truck, a sort of truck on the left side at the bottom. There's a small boat on the right. There's not much to talk about. Some soldiers with
Yeah, soldiers.
automatic
Yeah.
If you
weapons.
look at the front of the ship, you'll see two big round blue balls. That's radar.
Mhm.
Okay. Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and it has some catwalks,
Uh, is that an
walkways.
helicopter aircraft? Helicopter aircraft because it doesn't look as big to carry
Yeah.
planes.
Yeah, this is not an aircraft carrier. I misspoke. This is just a helicopter landing ship.
Mhm.
I didn't realize it was a UN command ship. I didn't know the UN had ships.
UN.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So that is the shelter now with the bunk beds, not too big, but at least they have some shelter. It's good. Okay, I'm skipping. So this is a doctor, which is a hope. How we call it? Cantery?
Canteen?
Cantery?
Cafeteria.
Oh, yeah, but for military it's canteen, right? Canteen.
We can call it cafeteria too, but you might hear the word canteen.
Okay, cafeteria. The unloading or loading, perhaps.
Unloading bay doors, bay. Okay.
Okay, CI guy.
Yeah.
Operation Silence, right?
Yep. Bicycles.
Okay, and it's,
Squeaky bicycles.
yeah. Leila, what people are doing here?
I don't know.
Can you guess?
I think as they are holding the microphones in their hands, and they might be singing or praying.
I guess so. Yeah.
A little irony here. They were kind of either singing or praying over the loudspeaker, and that's what doomed the city.
Yep. Looks nice. And this one. Wasans, please. What's happening?
Yeah, here is the zombies are running past by the small boy who is affected by some unknown disease. The way it looked like I don't know what kind of way is it.
Maybe cancer?
Yeah.
Something, yeah,
have a
it's eating
hint.
away his flesh, yeah.
Yeah, we have a hint. You know, this guy has his hair shaven or he's bald. So it's usually a hint that he has this chemotherapy, how you call it, or something like this. So probably that's why Jerry decided that this guy has a, like, what's the word? Is it crucial or
a flaw or defect.
Yeah, defect. Yeah, something.
Actually, how do we call the way which is built on the side of the building? You know, it looked like a side way.
The little wall, you mean? We would just call it a wall.
No, this way is looked like something like a stairway towards the top of that building. You know?
The road. It looks like a roadway to me, but it might just be a walkway. Or,
I mean, I think I understand the question. This kind of edge or something on the left,
yeah,
but it's just.
I would call that a ledge. Yeah.
Ledge, yeah. Part of basement, I guess. It's just a way of building. So basements, it's a little bit wider than the wall. So that's why there is a ledge, I guess.
Maybe the wall was there first and they built the building next to it. I don't know why they did it that way. Maybe it's a place to sit. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, there are a lot of slides, but we run out of time, unfortunately.
Mhm.
So I'm stopping share. Okay, so it was an enjoyable video.
Thank you.
Finally, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming for this discussion, and see
Next
you next
movie? Next movie?
Have not chosen yet, so
Okay.
write your suggestions in our chat. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
no. I don't suggest anything.
Okay. 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 We did not criticize you, Leila. So don't.
No,
don't,
no,
don't.
no. My dear friends, I can understand you. It's my taste.
Okay. So thank you. See you again. Thank you very much for
Bye
coming.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Lee,
Bye.
bye bye. Gerard,
Bye bye,
Prasanth,
Leila. Take care.
Ivan, bye bye.